What's up, everybody? Today we're talking about the Popeyes chicken craze and a lot more on Black Hollywood Live's The Trend.
You're tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Black Hollywood Live's The Trend. I'm your host, Daryl Kristen. Courtney Stewart is in Europe still. She's living her best life. But I have two great co-hosts with me today. I got my man right here, Donny.
How are you?
How you doing?
Doing great.
And we got Chido as well in the house.
What's going on?
And if you guys don't know, Donny is the CEO of Radical Superfoods, and Chido just premiered his new show last night on BET, Sistas, and he's killing the game right
Absolutely.
now. You know, we're excited to have you guys.
Thank you for having me.
So, listen, we got a lot of topics that we're going to talk about today, but let's talk about this heat in LA first.
Hot.
I mean, it's
very hot.
It's very hot, right?
Yeah,
Right.
there's fires actually going on right now.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that when I was pulling up.
Yeah, not a good situation. It's spreading, but hopefully they get that under control.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's, Southern California living, right?
Right. As soon as you step outside, you're already starting to sweat. I mean,
Already
it's like
sweating.
Going through, I already went through 2 shirts already, so it's just...
But you look good, man. You
Thank
came
you,
ready.
man. Thank
You
you.
came
Thank
ready. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us today. I mean, the first topic we're going to talk about is actually, we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, is Tyler Perry. He's been in the news a lot because he just opened up his new studio in Atlanta.
I was there for that, yeah.
And you were so you were one of the star-studded people that were at that studio, because I saw Oprah, Holly Berry, all A-listers,
Whoever you can think of.
So many people from his cast. I thought it was super cool also that he actually had stars of all of his
the
actors
shows,
in the shows. You know, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So you have Sisters that premiered last night. What is it like working with Tyler Perry?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, obviously we can just talk a long time about what he's accomplished and what he's been doing. But just being on set, I mean, he had an actor-friendly set. It was just, very, very fast-paced. I don't think people understand. We were like moving at warp speed. I mean, you had very little room for mistakes.
I heard he's like, you do it one time.
Yeah,
like you better come ready.
And it's cool because, I mean, it really puts you on your A game and your preparation. And we worked like around the clock. A lot of us actors, we just wanted to make sure that we put together a great performance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a lot of fun. He had really, a real standard of excellence he wanted us to have, and it just made for a great show.
Yeah, and I one thing that has been in the news as well is Steve Harvey has been teasing that he's going to do a collaboration with Tyler Perry, possibly.
Yeah, just heard about that, yeah.
And maybe a new talk show. There's not a lot of information out about it yet, but Steve did go to social media and tweeted, he was at the studio as well, which you probably saw him, and he was mentioning that, you got to see this brother's studio. He said it's unbelievable, and I know that it was 330-acre complex, and there's a lot of different rooms that have their own themes, apparently, as well.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, I mean, the little part where we filmed that, I mean, we didn't even see the entire studio. So that when I was able to, go back for the grand opening, I saw the entire lot because we were in this one area, and I was like, okay, this is big enough. And then only to hop on the trolley and go around, I was like, holy. Man,
you
it was
said
a whole,
trolley, it's like
exactly.
It was
like,
big.
It was big. We got to get on the trolleys, to go around. But it was just incredible, and it's very inspiring. I mean, a lot of people were just, in big emotions about it because it's just like it's a lot to take in that what one man has accomplished, and obviously with the support of the community. And he's just given so many of us an opportunity to showcase our talents and abilities. A lot of us on the show are fresh faces. Yeah. And this is our our first go around to really get out there, and you can't thank him enough. I mean, just even last night with the premiere and being over at his house and just trying to take it in as a young actor out here in LA, it's priceless.
Were you in Atlanta as of yesterday, or were you still in LA?
No, we was in LA yesterday. Yeah. We flew back in because we had our premiere in Atlanta a few days ago. So we came back in, got acclimated, and had the premiere yesterday. Which is incredible.
What's your character? What's he all about?
So I play Gary Marshall Borders on the show. So he's a very wealthy, successful CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and he brings a lot of drama to the show.
Drama's good.
Drama's good. Yeah, brings a lot of drama to the show. But he's a very, very passionate young man.
Yeah.
He's wealthy. He's accustomed to success. He's accustomed to getting what he wants, and he's not shy about it. He's very charming. He has a way with words, and like I said, he's in love with Andy, the character on the show. So it's going to bring a lot of fun to it.
I can't wait to continue to watch.
I'm trying not to give anything away.
But I know. I'm like, what can you tell us? What can you
not tell us?
To if you want to? No.
We don't want Tyler calling us out.
Exactly. So I want people to continue to tune in and enjoy it.
I mean, I just love Tyler's business sense, and Donny and I were actually speaking about that a little bit earlier. Is just, first of all, when does he sleep? Because, I mean, I just feel like he's producing just so much content.
On everything.
He's created a lot of content.
Everything.
Hands on everything.
We were talking about some of our favorite movies that he was in, and also you just respect his just business sense as a whole.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what he's done. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's really a whole enterprise, and he's produced so much content so fast that it's astonishing. But that's why I'm not surprised to hear you say the around-the-clock nature of the production. I don't know how else you would do it and create as much content as he does.
I mean, it's like I said, we're moving fast-paced. I mean, everyone. I mean, it's like I said, it's a very exciting environment because we're all prepared. We all know what we're doing. But like I said, for the actors, I mean, we were on it. You know, even on our days off, we were getting together and we were rehearsing, and because we were really passionate about it. We really, really wanted the show to be a hit. And just hearing some of the rating reviews right now that it was a success. It's like, all right, now we're on to something. So let's keep it going.
I mean, you've done a lot of great things too, man. So we're looking forward to see where your other projects lead to as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you had kind of like the night slot. You had the
primetime slot,
the Oval first,
and then
Sistas.
Two different contrasting shows too, which makes it a lot of fun for the viewers. And you got the Oval, and then you segue into us. Diving into very relatable, I like to say, relationships and women navigating their careers, and it's just incredible. And the women on our show they're phenomenal. I mean they're beautiful, obviously, but I mean hardworking, incredible workers. I mean they just bring very focused intensity to the set, and it's just easy for the guys to follow behind and follow their lead.
Well, man, I know it's going to be a huge success because, like I said, everything Tyler touches is great. It's golden.
Yeah. Well.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. We're going to get to this next topic. All right. Well, Halloween is here.
Yeah.
And you guys have your outfits ready?
I've never been the biggest Halloween person.
You're not a big Halloween?
Yeah. I mean, if it is a party or something, I guess I can figure something out. But I just never been like, oh, Halloween's coming. Never been. Yeah.
What was the last costume that you actually wore?
I couldn't even.
I gotta
dig back into the archives for that one, man. Just never been it.
Never been into it.
Yeah.
Well, Donnie, you got kids, so
I do.
I'm sure that
I have 2 kids, and I'm definitely lagging behind on my decorations at our house. We do have like a 9-foot minion that inflates, and
you go all out.
Usually, it's an attraction for sure when people walk by it, and here we are, and we're right around the corner from Halloween, and I still haven't put it up, so maybe now.
Oh, you haven't even put it up?
I haven't. Okay. I will maybe tomorrow. Yeah, a couple of years ago I put it up like a month in advance, and now I've let it slide a little bit, but I'll be on it.
All right, party at Donnie's house. But, I love Halloween. It's actually my favorite time of year, but it's a very interesting topic that's been in the news this week, actually. I thought we were getting past this, but apparently not. Bed Bath & Beyond, which I'm sure many of us have shopped at and bought a lot of things from, they were getting a lot of criticism this week because of a apparent black-faced pumpkin that was being sold online there. It was a jack-o'-lantern. So apparently you can only get this jack-o'-lantern online, and a law firm in New York had bought a couple of these pumpkins and placed it outside of their law firm. A couple employees walked out, saw it, got very offended, and they have recalled from putting this product out. It's no longer available, and it's a bit they've apologized, issued an apology, and said there was no misintent to do anything wrong or wrongdoing. But I feel like we keep talking about this blackface subject, and I want to get your perspectives on this. I mean, do you think that this was something intentional, or do you think that this was something that just was clueless? And if it is clueless, how are we at a major corporate office that doesn't have anyone who can realize that this is offensive to people? But we'll start with you, Donnie.
Well, I would really hope it's clueless and not intentional, because if it's intent matters a lot here. And so if it was intentional, there are very serious problems at hand. You would have to think that somebody just assumed we're talking about pumpkins and it couldn't be offensive. And when I first saw the headline, I assumed how bad could this be? But when I saw the pictures, it does not bode well. It really it is not a good representation here, and it does not reflect well on them. So I'm glad they pulled it, and I understand the sensitivity to it. It makes sense to me, but you would really just hope that this was just being a bit clueless here.
A bit clueless, yeah.
Individuals
Chido.
Continuing to. It's just people. It's just tiring. Just people continuing to drop the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially in the decision makers in the room. I mean, it's obviously a complete lack of diversity, because there's no way I could sit in a room and let someone walk out of it, regardless of if it's a pumpkin or not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a pumpkin. It's not. I didn't take it that way. Nah. It's just you wouldn't even go there.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen it. It's complete negligence now, because you've seen enough of it. You know what I mean? To do anything in blackface. So it's tiring to talk about, man. It's just it's just like, man,
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like I feel like we always have this subject, and at what point do people realize just stay away from anything that's if it even reminds you of a blackface, just stay away from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just don't even do it. Don't dress up like Halloween. Just stay away from it.
Yeah.
I'm
just hoping you got people in those positions that are able to speak up and say something. You know what I mean? Not just having diversity in the room, but like, okay, can I use my voice right now and be able to do it? So again, that's dropping the ball. You know, so
yeah. I mean, we've had it's a different situation, but we've had situations with H&M and some of the other fashion brands who, you know, certain things that were offensive to people of color have gone through and just kind of gotten through this where it's in the public's eye, and people are like, oh, I didn't realize that, or I didn't realize this was going to be offensive. It's like, at what point
it's not an excuse anymore.
At what point is it not an excuse anymore?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's just you're right. It's tiresome to have it to keep being slapped in the face with it. I feel like
absolutely.
So, all right, well, Bed Bath & Beyond, hopefully you take care of that problem, because we don't want to see those jack-o'-lanterns, blackface jack-o'-lanterns. All right, next topic is, this is something I've been excited about. I know Donnie may have some strong viewpoints about this, but the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Our web story, Spotlight of the Week.
See, it gets the music with that one, the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Wow.
So this chicken sandwich premiered back in August.
Yeah.
And it is now, you know, the end of October, and they've been sold out
right?
nationally, sold out. So apparently there is a new batch of chicken sandwiches that are going to be put out back in November.
Oh, wow.
So people will have the chance to get those chicken sandwiches and try it. Listen, I'm one of those people. I'm very excited about this chicken sandwich, and I've been hearing about it. I want to know what the craze is. Almost like when Patti LaBelle had the patty. Well, she still does have the patty pies. It's like I had to taste it. You know, I had to experience it. And now, Donnie, I know that you are a vegan advocate.
I am.
And, I know that this is an interesting probably subject for you, because you see the hype about things, but you have a different perspective on why people should not be eating meat.
Yeah, whether you're talking about chicken or, in this case, right, or meat or fish or any animal, really. Yeah. It's just, I mean, I understand that people like the taste of these foods, right? Even leave aside the fact that there's just no chance the sandwich is good for you, right? So you could put health aside. But from an ethical standpoint, we just don't have to eat these chickens, right? We're talking about chickens here, so I'll leave all other animals out for a minute. And there were probably long stretches of human history where we did need to eat animals to survive, but today we don't, right? It is just absolutely an option that we can avoid and not exploit these animals, right? We just don't have to do it. Now, there's a giant ripple effect to eating animals. It has a negative effect on your health. It has a negative effect on the environment. And it's certainly not good for the animals, because we're exploiting them to the nth degree. So I would argue that despite how much people may like some of these products, it is a much better choice to just opt out entirely.
I mean, I understand, and I know that you're what you specialize in is trying to steer people from those things. And I mean, okay, Chido, have you wanted to try the sandwich as well? I mean, I
don't know. I've been torn on it. I mean, it's just like, I'm not a big fast food person in general anyway. Yeah. So, and I have been steering clear of meat a little bit. You know what I mean? Just tapering off, I guess I would say. Like.
And what's your reason for that?
I just wanted to, eat different foods. Try it, and cut back. I wouldn't say I was, deep in as animals and all that stuff that you were, but it was more so like, I want to try different foods. And but I'm not a big fast food guy. Okay. So I saw the craze of Popeyes going on, and but I just couldn't figure out why everyone was going like, you would drive down the road and see lines
around the block
for this chicken sandwich, and I was like, there's no way this thing is I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting in line for that car. So I haven't tried it, so I can't speak on how good it is. Right. But it's just like, there's nothing out there that's going to make me sit in line that long. Yeah. To try to have it. So I mean, I wouldn't wait in line for no iPhone or shoes or anything like that. Right. It's just,
if I see a line, I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm not
doing
what I mean?
Yeah. I think I drove by one time and I was like, okay. So I made a U-turn. I was like, I'll go. And then the line picked. I was like, you know what? I'm out. We're good. So. We'll see.
I mean, like I said,
I'm surprised it sold out though. That was so crazy. But you know what's so crazy? That's the power of social media, because you were seeing so many people doing the comparisons within the other companies got into it, and then you just felt compelled, like, well, shit, I want to go get something to eat.
Yeah.
And if it's in your face, I might as well go try that.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Well, and also I feel like that also stepped up a lot of fast food restaurants to offer a assortment, a variety of different things that are not meat. You know, like the non-meat,
like the Impossible.
The Impossible Burger.
Yeah,
Like even Burger King has an Impossible Burger now as alternates because of things like you were talking about with health.
Yeah,
you know?
That's interesting.
And so, you know, for people who are meat lovers, how do you convince them that they should not be eating meat?
Well,
I'm curious about that too.
Yeah, there's a variety of topics that we could talk about that all answer that question. But I would start by saying this. Look, we have separated animals into three categories quite arbitrarily, right? We have pets that we treat as family members, right? Our dogs and cats, and we love them and we treat them as our own, right? And then we've got wildlife, elephants and giraffes and other things that we revere in their natural surroundings and certainly would wish them no harm, and many people advocate for, you know, endangered species and other things. And then we've got this category of livestock, poultry, and seafood, which is really the animals that we exploit on a day-to-day basis in an era when we don't have to, right? And if I was to ask you, like, would you eat a dog?
Absolutely not.
Now, why would you not? Now, I'm agreeing with you. I wouldn't eat a dog either. But what if you really think about the reason? Because there are parts of the world where they would eat a dog.
Sure.
So why would you not eat a dog?
I mean, well, I think it's something that I love my dog. I mean, it's my pet. You know, I grew up with my dog, or have grown up with dogs. It's my pet,
right.
So I consider it family. I wouldn't eat, you know, like that. It's family.
Right, but does
part of the family.
Does your view of that animal's worth have any bearing on how that animal is experiencing the world? Right, the animal is not in. The animals are not in on our game plan of, we're going to exploit these animals and put them in factory farms and give them terrible conditions and then ultimately kill them and eat them. And then these we're going to give a great life to. I mean, right, we can treat all these animals the same because they all have similar experiences, right? Sure. They're all sentient animals. They all have a brain and a central nervous system. They are emotional beings. We know that they are. We know they have families. They care about their families. They have friends, right? You wouldn't question this with a dog, right? A dog has friends, recognizes the family that it lives with and other people in the neighborhood. You know when your dog is happy, when your dog is sad or scared. This is not a mystery, and we know that these animals don't want to die, right? Because if you set a fire next to a dog, the dog's not jumping into the fire, right? If you chase a dog with a bat screaming, they're running in the other direction, right? They're trying to preserve their well-being. Do you think for a second that it's any different with a chicken or a cow or a pig or any of these other animals? They're all equally, maybe not all the exact same, but they all have some level of sentience and emotional capacity and awareness, and don't want to suffer and don't want to die. And so what right do we have to exploit them in an era where we don't have to be healthy? We don't have to survive. We just, again, maybe we did in the past, but we don't have to anymore. So how do you justify it, given that, and that there's really not those differences between a dog and a cow, for example?
Well, I think we've been conditioned, as you were saying, to eat those. Do you have a pet, Chido?
No pets. No.
I think we've just been conditioned as a people to do certain things, to certain lifestyle things. I mean, we've been taught. Some people do have chickens as pets, I'm sure.
Yes.
I have never experienced that, but I've just been taught that, you know, you have the chicken at the farm and you eat the eggs, you eat chicken, you eat, the cow, the beef and meat. I'm not a big red meat or meat eater myself, but I do eat meat. I think a lot of people have a idea of like where would they get their protein.
Right.
I don't know if would be a concern that you think about.
Yeah,
you're a fit dude.
Yeah, that's
so
definitely always. I mean, obviously I know there are sources where you can get different proteins, vegan style proteins, but it's just like that is a question that a lot of people would ask. You know what I mean? Okay, well, where do I get my protein from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I know that you can get them from your fishes and different things like that, but like that is a question that I know a lot of people would have to answer.
Right, and so first of all, there's a documentary that just came out on Netflix called The Game Changers, and I'd highly encourage you to watch it because it is elite athletes from around the world that are actually, you should see what happens with their performance when they switch over to a complete plant-based diet. But this idea that vegans cannot get ample protein on a all plant-based diet is just a complete and utter myth. All protein originates in plants. You know, when the animals eat the plants and we eat the animals, we're just stripping out these amazing phytonutrients and fibers and other beneficial components of plants, and we're eating the animal. But we don't need to do that. I mean, there are vegan bodybuilders, there are vegan strongmen, there are vegan tennis players, you could take any category of sports that you want, and you would look at those people and go, look, these people are clearly not protein or nutrient deficient, right? So that is just a myth that has been perpetuated for years. It's just not grounded in reality.
Yeah. Well, I think also another thing is people, it matters what level of income you have. I mean, there's a misconception on things like if you're,
it is assumed to be pricey.
It seems to be pricey. Yeah. I mean, I know that we've had conversations outside of this about like Whole Foods, and Whole Foods is not in low-income neighborhoods. You know what I mean? So if you're going to a grocery store, you have a family, you're making $25,000 a year, you have a family of 5 that you need to feed, you're going to go to what foods can feed your family, and those are things that affect, I think, you also like a plant-based diet versus like a regular diet.
Yeah, so it's an interesting point, and I think also a misconception. So if you were to go buy, we talked about the Impossible Whopper. Yeah. The Impossible Whopper is more expensive than the regular Whopper, right? Or you can look at vegan cheeses or other things that may be either comparable or on the higher end of the price spectrum. But this is not what people need to be eating to eat a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet. You don't want to be eating tons of processed foods anyway. The reality is that the poorest countries in the world are often vegan by default. They can't even afford the more expensive animal-based products. They are eating beans and grains and rice and potatoes and other things. So you can actually shop the outside perimeter of the supermarket where they have all the fresh whole foods and buy some healthy grains, and you are not spending more money. In fact, there are even books on there like how to be vegan for $4 a day or being vegan on a budget. So again, somebody could live a very healthy lifestyle and just not spend more money. In fact, most people would probably save money from where they were, unless you want to go to Whole Foods, buy all the most expensive vegan items. There's no question you could do that, but that is at your discretion. It is not a necessity.
Yeah. And Chido, since you're on set a lot, how do you kind of maintain, you're on Tyler Perry's set? What do you eat? What are you doing to like kind of keep the
trying to eat around the clock? Yeah, trying to eat around the clock. I mean, it's funny you said I'm like you. I steered away from a lot of red meats. I wouldn't say anything particular. It's just more so that I just don't gravitate to it. But I do try to. I mean, I'm eating like every 3 hours. A lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. Salads has become one of my biggest things, because sometimes I don't like to gorge eat, so I don't like to just like, there's chicken and all that stuff there. I don't want to just like do over my portion size of it. But you're just eating every 3 hours, and we have really good food options out there, so they really take care of us. I mean, they have a lot of healthy items. They have vegan options.
Craft services is
on point.
Bomb,
they're on point, man. They're on point. So it just allows you to really, get what you want, and stay in the shape that you want to stay in. So for me, it was very, very important to just have food around the clock, because every time I finished the scene, I was like, "What's craft services?" I need like a protein shake, or I need an apple, or a bowl of berries, or something like that. So. Yeah.
Have you actually finished filming all of the episodes?
We're wrapped. We wrapped all the episodes right now. Yeah.
Okay, and then so with that, and working with Tyler, how did he kind of like? What did you learn from him? Because I feel like there's so much to learn from this guy.
I mean, just trusting your instincts was probably the biggest thing, because, like I said, we're working so fast. So you really, really have to, just fall in love with your initial perception of what you've, the homework that you've done, what you prepared, and just trusting it and going out there and just being like, okay, this is what I feel, this is what it is, and going to do it. And he allows you to do that. And then there's freedom for change too. There's a few times where like, hey, you could do this a little differently, or try something else that you're thinking. You're like, okay, all right, because it comes up as you're doing the scene. So he allows a lot of freedom on set, but I think the biggest takeaway I've taken is trusting my instincts.
Trusting your instincts.
Yeah.
And then when you went to audition for the role, I've heard that he won't necessarily tell you what that particular role is. You may read for something totally different.
Yeah, I
mean, morphs it into that.
Yeah, I'll speak from my personal audition process. Like I did go audition for a show before that, The Oval. So I auditioned for a couple roles on there and tested for a couple roles on there, and then I read for another role on Sistas. And I remember coming back to LA, starting a new job. It was on a Wednesday. Started a new job that day, bartending. And like nighttime, I remember my agent called me and was like, "Yo, you got your test, audition for Sistas." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And they're like, "Yeah, but you're gonna fly back to Atlanta for it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, when? Cool." And they're like, "Yeah, tomorrow morning." And I was like, "Oh, dang."
So wait, what was the time in between?
Let's just say 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and then I was on a flight the next morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So went out there, and then, like I said, did my test and read for the role I eventually got right now. And I just remember getting that call like a week later, like, "Yeah, you got the part."
Wow. How long did it take for you to find out after you did that?
It was like, I think it was like 5, 6 days, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I remember coming back and, because it was after my birthday, and I remember coming back, and then it was rolling right into close to like Memorial Weekend, I think it was. And then getting that call, I was like, lap around the apartment. I had to go work out, because that's what I do when I just get too much energy, because I was like, let me go work out and just like get some of this out. But it was probably one of the most exciting times of my life. But it was just it was a crazy process, you know what I mean? Just, the auditions and reading for multiple roles, and he has a great eye.
Yeah.
He just sees.
That's what I hear.
And if they like you and they see the talent, they know what they're doing. That's why he is what he is.
Yeah.
He's able to just place it, and he's perfectly casted. Like I said, both of our shows are just incredible.
And then how quickly did you start filming for the episodes right after you
Gosh,
found
we
out?
started filming, was it July? Yeah, in July, I think it was, in July, August. Yeah, we knocked our season out in like 3.5 weeks, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah, month, yeah. Boom.
And then as an actor right now, especially an African-American actor, do you feel that, we've seen a lot of change in the last couple of years in the industry as far as like roles that are available. There's a lot more, when I look at commercials now, it's so interesting to me to see, people of color on the commercials a lot more than I used to, or television shows. It seems like it's really starting to change.
It's slowly getting there,
and that's
it's a little uptick, I guess. But for for myself, that's why one of the reasons I love him, like the character I'm playing, because he is a very successful man, and it is good for, I remember watching TV myself, and it's just like, man, like I was around, I've seen lawyers and businessmen and successful people, so it's like, but why is it not being depicted on TV? Well, I'm only seeing, African American guys in, just the street role. You know what I mean? Or that's the only way that you feel like it'd be successful. So, seeing how some of these characters are making their way onto TV right now, and seeing how, like, I have a younger brother who's 18, 19, how he's able to see that and be like, oh, okay, because TV is very impressionable.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So you're watching and you're able to see
yourself. You're like, I can do that.
Oh, yeah, I could have did that. Or, oh, this dude reminds me of me. You know what I mean? So he's just not a ball player or a gangster.
Right.
You know what I mean? There are other guys doing other things. So it's a lot of fun to start seeing these roles come in your email, open it up, and like, oh, this is a young doctor, African-American doctor, is early 30s or something. You're like, dope. All right, cool.
I got this.
Because I've always wanted to play those smart and very articulate characters, because I was in my books, and I do want to be on there and be like, yeah, put me in a power suit, you know what I mean, or give me a little stethoscope and walk in there and start talking about different body parts and stuff like that. So it's cool to see those roles coming in now.
Well, I'm excited to see where your career goes, man.
Absolutely.
You got some great things, and the ladies love you, man. It's like, as soon as they heard you were coming in the studio, they're like, oh, we watched the show last night.
I love it, man. It's a lot of fun.
See, look, J-Lo from the studio right there. Donny, listen, what if Tyler Perry, if you had your chance to be in front of Tyler Perry, and I'm not sure, if Tyler Perry is a meat lover or not, but if he is, how would you convince him to change his mind?
Well, how much time would I have? I mean, the reality is, I think most people are actually vegan at heart already. They just haven't aligned their actions with what they already believe to be true. Like, how do you feel about animal cruelty? Would you say that you're against animal cruelty?
I would definitely say I'm against animal cruelty.
Right.
I don't want to, I don't.
You're against animal cruelty. I think most people are against animal cruelty. Now, I define animal cruelty as, causing pain, suffering, or death to an animal unnecessarily. Right? I'm not talking about, you're on a deserted island and you have to kill an animal to survive, or these crazy hypotheticals that people could throw at you. You're camping and a bear attack, right? We're talking about unnecessarily hurting an animal.
Naked and Afraid, where they have to kill their prey.
You don't have to do that, right? And that would be cruel. And I guess my question is, do you think it's necessary to eat animals? Do you think you have to? I mean, I'm a vegan, my family's vegan, there's millions of vegans around the world. I think we're all walking evidence of this, but do you think it's necessary for your survival or even for your health to eat animals?
It was kind of those things I was saying to Chido earlier. I think it's just when you grow up with something and it's what you know. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I grew up eating meat. A lot of my family eats pork. If I said to them to stop eating pork, I don't even know. My grandmother may slap me. You know. I know now, living in California, which I feel like I'm privileged to have resources of things that allow me to know I don't need to necessarily eat meat per se.
You'd be fine if you didn't, right?
I'd be fine if I didn't.
Products.
I mean, there are certain things I would definitely miss. I would like the opportunity to eat the Popeyes chicken sandwich before I gave up meat. I'm not going to lie about that. But all jokes aside, yes, I know that there's other places to get your protein. It's just a fact on I had the idea of the cost involved in that to live that, and also where am I going to I need to be full. I work out, myself. So it's like, I'm thinking like, okay, what do I substitute for that in order to live still a very healthy life? Now, do I think that also, there's lots of foods that are injected with things that we should not be eating and are causing unfortunate medical issues for people. That would be something that may steer my mind to a more plant-based diet. Which I'll let you speak about that as well.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there in what you said. The first part was you just said, look, you've been doing it forever, right? You grew up with this. Your grandparents were eating it, and that in and of itself is not a justification to continue to exploit animals. Just because we've been doing something for a long time doesn't in and of itself make it right.
Sure.
I mean, can you think of other examples of things we've done for a long time as a culture that aren't good, that aren't right? And so you can't look to culture to determine what's right and wrong. Even if you look at certain parts of the world where there's inequality and girls don't have the same access to education as boys, and women in society don't have the same rights as men. Do we just throw up our hands and go, look, it's culturally normal there for that inequality to exist, and therefore it's fine? We would not take that position. And so just because something's been done for a long period of time or culturally normal does not make it okay. Now, this idea...
And I wasn't saying it's right.
Right.
I'm saying what we're conditioned... A lot of people are conditioned to think.
They are. It's absolutely part of the culture we were all born into. But the idea that, you wouldn't be able to get full or get your nutrition from, plant-based sources, again, isn't true. And I would say that you should try it. You'd realize that the alternative of eating an all plant-based diet is actually quite easy. I mean, you have to be willing to take that shot and take a first step. But again, I think if you were confronted with the animal in front of you, if I opened the hottest hamburger joint in LA and we had lines around the block like the Popeyes story that you were describing, imagine that you get to the front of the line and you're there and I said, look, you could choose between 10 plant-based burgers. I've got Beyond, I've got Impossible, I got a mushroom burger, I got a quinoa burger, whatever it is. Or I'll give you the freshest burger you've ever had, because on my left here is actually a living cow. All you got to do is say the word. I will slaughter that cow and I will grill part of it for you. We'll grind it up and do it. But if you choose the plant-based burger, we'll let this cow go, right? Are you choosing the vegan option, or are you choosing to kill the animal?
I'm sorry, but this is a lot of pressure. Is the cow right in front of me?
The cow's right in front of you.
I think most people would...
I think most people would not kill the cow, because you'd look at it and go, look, it's not necessary for me to kill the cow. Now, if I was starving, maybe. But I'm just at a restaurant. I don't have to kill that cow. I could actually opt for the plant-based option and leave this cow alone. And I'm saying now, I just want you to imagine the same scenario. You get to the front of the line at the same restaurant, and you don't see the cow anymore. Now the cow is 200 miles away from you in a building called a slaughterhouse with the same person killing it the same way. What's the difference? I realize I've adjusted the proximity. I understand that when you order a burger, they're not killing the animal on the spot. But we do live in a supply and demand system, right? The only reason they're breeding these animals into existence, killing them and cutting them up into pieces and serving them to us where we don't see the animal is because we keep buying it. We're perpetuating the demand.
Right.
And you have the option to buy plant-based options, which will, lessen the exploitation of animals. Over time, we would breed fewer and fewer into existence as more and more people adopt a vegan diet or shift to a more plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, this conversation could go on and on and on and on and on.
It's got layers to it.
It's got layers, Chido, because we have to wrap soon. Chido, has this changed your opinion on maybe considering to? I mean, you already weren't eating a lot of meat.
Yeah, but it is part of. I mean, part of the factors why I do slowly start, looking at other alternatives. I already don't eat meat already like that, but it is like when you start hearing stuff like that, you're like, oh, okay, I do open to changing other options and stuff like that. But I do like the point that you were talking about as far as, though there is no justification for it, there are realities for people, individuals, especially in low-income places where, how they're shopping and feeding their families. So it is something that people need to take in consideration. So, but...
Listen, I'm gonna be real. I can't see my cousins and uncles saying that they're not gonna have the ribs at the barbecue anymore. It's just
you know what?
So people, you may have to literally. You probably could have the pet or the animal in front of them, and they still say, "I'm eating my ribs."
Yeah, it's like I'm not going. They're like someone's going to a barbecue. And they're like, I'm not walking up here looking for the salad. It's like, where's the chicken? Where's the ribs?
That's
you know what? And
not
people,
saying it's right.
I understand. And people grab onto veganism for different reasons. Some for the ethics, right? Which is what I've spent all this time talking about. Another is for health reasons, right? You can not only halt but reverse heart disease by going on a whole food plant-based diet, right? This has been proven clinically, right? You're talking about lower incidence of certain types of cancers, lower incidence and even reversal of type 2 diabetes, improved blood flow, like lower inflammation. I mean, the list of health benefits goes on, not to mention the environmental impact. Like eating animals, exploiting animals, is particularly for food, is the leading cause of habitat destruction, deforestation. I mean, the water use that we're talking about, the greenhouse gas emissions. I believe that any one of those strands of discussion, environment, health, or ethics, in and of themselves would support adopting a whole food, plant-based vegan diet. Taken in combination, it is overwhelming. I just think most people don't think about it because they like the ribs. It's the world they were born into.
Yeah, so people got to give it a try.
They got to give it a try. But wait, if people want to, because this conversation goes on and on and on, if people want to know more, Donny, and find you to find out more information about this, maybe they're considering changing to a plant-based diet, where do they find you?
Yeah, and it's not even so much finding me for that specific purpose, but there is a great site called Challenge 22, and you go there, it is completely free, you can sign up, and you will even be assigned a mentor, and the idea is that you will be vegan for 22 days. The theory being that it typically takes 21 days to develop a new habit. They'll give you one extra and go 22, and this costs you nothing, right? So there's really no reason not to do this, but I think it's certainly worth giving a try.
But if they have specific questions for you, what's your social media handle? Like, what's the best way to reach you?
Funny thing is, the best way to reach me where people send me messages is actually through LinkedIn. It's just my full name, right? And I'm on Instagram as well, and I need to boost my presence on the other platforms.
Well, it's
lagging behind at the moment. Donny Makower.
Donny Makower. You can't forget my name.
I just use my name.
Cheetah, where can people find you?
At I'm Chido. My handle's I'm Chido on Instagram. Actually, on Instagram and Twitter. I just realized that. You're on both. Cheeto on both. YEA_letter-I-M-CHIDO.
And then what can people expect for the remainder of the season? Because I know, a lot of people are excited about this show.
Man.
You get all the sound effects, man.
I'm going to talk about the drama. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of different ranges of emotion, a lot of laughter, a lot of tears.
So we're going to go through an emotional
it's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be a roller coaster. And I just say, you guys know me right now, so we're family. So take it easy on your boy.
All right, everybody. Be sure to tune in to Sistas. Wednesday nights, BET. Exciting new series from Tyler Perry, and my man is killing it right now. He's doing a big thing.
Absolutely.
So, all right, you guys can find me at Daryl Christian on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and also on CBS's This Is LA Lifestyle Show. Fun topics. Interesting topics. Some fun.
Yeah, I didn't know how deep we were quite gonna go on this one.
But I think we get a good layer of idea. It's something that we've been talking about for a while. So a lot of people, there's a lot of vegan celebrities. It's a big subject.
Yeah, and mind you, I was not raised as a vegan or a vegetarian or any of this. I just became vegan not even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it would be easy to be like, oh yeah, this guy must have been living this way for years. I have not been. I was eating meat and loved barbecuing and loved all the same things you do. But once you look into the eyes of these animals and you understand the suffering and you understand the repercussions, the ripple effect of not living this lifestyle, it becomes a lot easier to make those changes. When you're not aware of it, you can just sort of proceed as you've been. Yeah, status
so just got to allow everyone to kind of get that process into their lives.
Watch the Game Changers, especially as an athlete. Watch the Game Changers on Netflix. I think it's not going to show you animal cruelty. It's going to talk about health and protein and how you could thrive on a plant-based diet. But I would encourage that as a good step.
You got to set your DVRs. You know, watch Game Changers and watch Sistas. So, and then watch BHL Online. We'll see y'all next week.
On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content, and be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.